believe that they can and make a decision. It starts with the decision, right? So you have to make the decision that, are you really fed up, or is this just something you want to keep talking about? Like, are you complaining just to complain?
Yeah.
And if you are really, if you're not going to do anything, the decision, if you're not going to do anything, then just stay where you are and do that. Just own that.
Right.
I'm not going to do anything. I just like to complain.
Yep. Yep.
But the first very thing is, and this is interesting that you asked this, because I'm teaching the science of getting rich right now. We're in the middle of the science of getting rich. And the science of getting rich is not just about, people think, oh, it's just about me learning how to get rich. No, it really is not. That's not really what it's about. No. It is about you doing things in a certain way, like you said. Yeah. It is you doing things in a certain way, and not getting so caught up emotionally in it.
Right.
It is you making a decision that starts with what? A thought.
Yeah. Thought.
Everything that we do starts there, right?
Absolutely.
And so before you can go on to the second step, it's got to be right.
Right.
So in answer to your question, it is making the decision.
Love it.
That I am going to do something different.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it is owning that too.
Welcome to the $1 Million Equation Podcast, a podcast about the easiest, fastest way to build $1 million business based on the best-selling book, The $1 Million Equation. If you love business, each episode reveals all of the core fundamental essentials for growth. Now, here's your host, Richelle Shaw.
Hey everybody, we're back. So, part of this whole summit has been for me to introduce you to some of my besties, and my besties who are doing stuff, who are changing the world, who are truly making a difference. And so I am excited to bring my friend, Robyn Mancell. So she's going to teach you all about Girls Gone Forex and all of that. But before we get to that, I want her to introduce herself to you so that you will see all the amazing things that I get to see when I got introduced to her. So, hey, Robyn, welcome to the show, and introduce yourself, please.
Oh, thank you for having me. My name's Robyn Mancell, and I am the co-founder of Girls Gone Forex.
Yeah.
And I am in the city of Rancho Cucamonga. We also have an office in Dallas, Texas. I am a mother of 3 sons. And I have 1 granddaughter, and I've been self-employed. I've been a serial entrepreneur now for over 25 years. After walking out of corporate America, I have never looked back, and I've been doing that self-employed gig ever since.
Yes. I always love to hear that, because I think, we are different. Us self-employed entrepreneurs, we're just different. And so often folks want to, well, how come you didn't go back and get a job? Well, I don't want to go back and get, you know what I mean? It's like, what? Really? Never considered it.
Right,
you know what I mean? And I think once you get that first taste of entrepreneurship, let me ask you, I know that that's how I feel, but is that how you feel too? Like, have you ever felt like, I should go back to a job?
Never. Never. No, I literally, I tell people, when you get a taste of freedom, it is intoxicating. And I don't care how bad, because we have our ups and downs, right?
Sure.
I don't care how bad it has gotten, I will just create something.
That's it. I mean, once you figure that piece out, I think that so many folks, they struggle with that. Like they think that this is it, and I said, it's not it. I don't care what it is. It's never it until you decide that this is it. So from, losing it all, from filing bankruptcy, from having a credit score of 427. Yep, that's me. From, losing my house to one night I go to sleep and I wake up and my Lexus is gone out of my driveway. Right? All of those things, I didn't answer the door and it was the gas man cutting off my gas, and I went without gas in my house for 18 days. all of those things. Never once did I say, ooh, maybe I should update my resume. Never. Never, you know?
Yeah.
So if I just don't know. I don't understand that. That's not how my brain processes. I know that you've done many things in your career. Tell us about some of the other companies that you owned before you started Girls Gone Forex.
Okay, so when I left corporate America, I worked for Ma Bell, and I went and got my Series 6 and 63 license. So I did that, did the insurance industry for a while. I have sold credit card machines. I had my own executive recruiting company in the telecom industry. I've run telemarketing offices. I even had a restaurant. I had a restaurant for 8 years. And I have to tell you, that was the most fun I've ever had because nobody's coming in complaining. If you serve them good food, and we were kind of like Cheers, so they wrote a lot of articles on us because we knew everybody's name. And I've done a little, I even had a gym. I even had a ladies fitness center. I've been in the travel industry.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Well, so tell me about the restaurant. Like, what kind of restaurant did you have?
So my boyfriend played in the NFL, and I actually talked him into this restaurant because he had a restaurant when he played in the NFL. He also had a restaurant when he lived in Sacramento. And I said, hey, let's give it a shot. And it literally came to us in that way. And I have no restaurant experience. I never even, as a kid, like when you're 16, most people start out there.
Yeah.
I didn't have any restaurant experience, but I tell you, I knew how I wanted people to feel. I knew how I wanted you to feel when you came into that place. And I had people say all the time, your food is good. Your food's really, really good. We come here because of you. And it was, we saw kids literally brought their parents to our place. And it was, for me, it was one of the happiest places that I've ever had because you're serving people, you're giving them good food, you're giving them good conversation. It's a lot of work though, backbreaking work.
So, I mean, we didn't discuss that we were going to talk about this, but, I don't care. Do you mind sharing what happened?
So we had the restaurant for about 8 years, and then we went into, this was my first time into the network marketing industry. That's how I ended up travel. And so we started being gone more. And the one thing about the restaurant business, you have to be really careful with your employees because it's either, if it ain't going out the back door, going out the front. And so we were gone a lot more. We still had the restaurant. And it just wasn't being run the way we would run it. It was our baby, right?
Yep.
And obviously working 15, 16 hours a day, and we go into the travel business and we're making more money. We're literally making 5-6 figures a month traveling.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I love this. But...
Why do this right? But not that much.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I know
that happened.
That makes sense. I mean, and I talk to folks who when I show them, well, look, why would I ever go out and do a business that is labor intensive, cost intensive? I can't control when I'm going to sell this piece of chicken, so that piece of chicken controls my life. Right. It's like, ooh, but you didn't order today. Don't you want the chicken? Well, that becomes the special today. Don't you want the chicken? Because, we are on a limited time to when I can sell that chicken. And so when I look at businesses to buy, which is what I'm doing now in my life, I always look at those things. Okay, well, I also don't go into, daycare. Well, daycare is extremely lucrative, right? People are paying $1,000 a week to have you watch their kid. However, it's highly regulated. Right. So when it's highly regulated, the government controls how many teachers I can hire that need to be there per kid while I'm there. If I can offer food or if I can't offer food. I don't like that, which is one of the reasons why still I'm not in the medical marijuana game. One is that I don't believe in it. Hey, do what you do, but it's not my thing. And secondly is too much regulation. Why I don't have a nonprofit? I don't want it. No. I have a nonprofit that works so that I can put money in, so that I can do other things with that. But that's not my main source, because I don't want you knowing how much money I have. I get to tell you how much money I have, right? So when I look at businesses, I'm always interested. One of my great friends who is going to be on my next round of summits, because she just couldn't make it work, but she had a steak restaurant, a steak hibachi restaurant that killed it. She talks about how she built her email list to over 100,000 people in the Pittsburgh area. When you have control over an email list of 100,000 people, your restaurant can kill it, right? Absolutely. And that's exactly, they got to $6 million very quickly. But what she found out is the same thing that you did. 15-hour days, if she wasn't the one there controlling it, and then they've got the shrimp who also is on a timer. You know what I mean? The steak can kind of, but that shrimp and scallops, that's on a timer. If you're not getting that, you end up throwing away so much waste, and so that you have to increase your prices in order to cover the food costs that don't have, it's always this crazy balance. And I'm interviewing you today, so let me be quiet.
But you said it all, though. You did say it all, because it's a heart business. I know why people do it, because
Sure.
you want to share your gift of cooking great food with other people. And it was wonderful. I still see people to this day, and they remember the restaurant, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But it's just that it economically,
Right.
It just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Right. And I think that, as serial entrepreneurs, that we get to the point where now I'm just all for maximizing and leveraging my time, and my money, right. Which leads us to what made you get into Forex, so talk about, what it is and why you chose this.
Okay. So I didn't know what Forex was 5 years ago.
Wow.
I did not. I literally saw, as I said, I had went into a network marketing company for the first time, became a top income earner in that company. And, the whole residual income thing was extremely appealing to me, but they have their problems just like everybody else, right?
Yep.
I kept seeing people, these young people who had worked with me before. We had built a team to about 100,000 people. So I saw them talking about this on social media, right? They kept talking about Forex, and I kept seeing them, how they do this thing, flashing money. And I would go to somebody else and say, okay, what's he doing? Is this illegal? Like, what is he doing? That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And they go, no, it's legitimate. It's Forex. And I'm like, what is that? I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got invited to an event, and it was a women's breakfast. The woman there had been trading for 20 years. She was a woman out of New York, and she said, she stood in front of the audience and said, Forex is something that she learned about 20 years ago. The brokers, when they were going from paper to the internet, they were paying for men to take the classes. They were paying for the guys. She said they wouldn't let her into the class unless she paid for it. And she had to pay $12,000. Yeah, to get it. And she had 12 grand to pay. So anyway, she said after she went through the course, she was sitting there like, I can't believe people don't know about this. I don't understand. Why don't people know? Well, I got to become friends with her because I was just intrigued.
Sure.
By her, what she's saying. So one day we were watching, how when we were having all the Black Lives Matter stuff going on with the police and stuff? And she's an Italian woman, and she said to me, she goes, no disrespect, but I want to tell you how you can solve the marching thing. I get it, but you need economic empowerment is what you need. And she said, you need to learn how to trade, and you need to teach that to your community. And I went, but I don't know how to trade. And she goes, well, you'll figure that out. She goes, but I'm telling you, you don't need anything but a computer, internet, anywhere in the world, no college degree, no credit check. She said, honey, it is the great equalizer. It could change your life.
Got it.
And I went, oh my God. I literally hung on to that. When she said that, I was like,
Yes.
I got to do something. I mean, how do I get this to the world? How do I get this message to the world?
Sure.
And so what I did was I started a group on Facebook, and I called it the Women of Wall Street, right?
Okay.
One day she looks at it and she goes, Forex isn't on Wall Street. I was like, oh, well, okay. See how much I know, right? But I'm a doer, so I just do things. And if you tell me I'm doing it wrong, then I just suggest, right? I just suggest, right? So I had a company called Green Makeover Team. What I was doing is I was showing people how to go green. Solar, everything inside of your home, the LED lighting, everything. And then I had a life coach, because not just going green, I was trying to create a TV show. So I had a life coach, a guy that somebody introduced me to on online, and I went to Dallas to meet with him. I took a film crew and everything, because we were going to sell this to the TV station. So we did our first show, and I'm telling him when it's over, I said to him, I got to learn this Forex stuff. I don't know how I'm going to learn it. I don't know where I'm going to learn it. I seen a place online. They want 20 grand. I got to figure this thing out. He looks at me and he goes, there was a woman there at the house. I didn't know whose house it was. And he goes, you see that woman right there? I go, yeah. He goes, that's my ex-wife. She's been trading over 15 years. Just like that. I went, what? He goes, yeah, she's been trading Forex over 15 years. Her and I started having a conversation. I said, hey, I got this idea. I really want to learn how to trade. I said, you think you could teach? He said, absolutely, but I don't want to. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I just keep, kind of talking to her, asking her. I had got involved in another company, and I said, hey, can you tell me if what they're doing is right? Would you mind just telling me, if this is correct? And so we hung along, we talked, and then I read a book called Turtle Traders. This book called Turtle Traders was a story of Richard Dennis, worth about $250 million, and he did a bet with his business partner, and what he did was he said, I can take 15 people off the street and teach them how to trade. So he ran an ad in the Wall Street Journal. Now this is 15, 20 years ago. He ran an ad. He took 15 people, but only one woman. Within 2 years, they were all multimillionaires, right? I was in the gym when I was reading this. I was in the gym. I literally ran out of the gym. I called her on the phone and I said, I think you need to rethink this, okay? Because here's what we're going to do. I already came up with a name. How do you like Girls Gone Forex? I said, let's do what he did, but let's do it with all women.
Yeah.
And she agreed.
Yeah. Wow.
That was December of 2016. And in March, we launched our very first training class.
Wow. So now, are you trading personally?
I do. Yeah. Well, I had to go through the academy too. So I had to go through,
sure.
When we got started, the only person that could put together the curriculum was her. Linda's, that's my business partner. She's the only person that could put together the curriculum because she's been trading all this time.
Right.
She used to be a money manager also. So she knew this stuff backwards and forward. She spent, I'm going to say, the better part of 2 weeks, 10 hours a day, putting together that curriculum. And I could only do what I do, which is I've been on Facebook. I'm the social media visionary person.
Yeah.
So we took in 100 applications. I ran a contest on Facebook. I said, we're going to give 15 women the ability to learn how to trade for free. I need 100 applications, and we're going to interview you by phone, and we're going to hand select 15 women for this. And literally, it was born. And in the beginning, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, because she was teaching them, and it took her about 12 weeks for them to go through the course.
Yeah.
And we wanted to, before we put it out there as a course, we wanted to prove that we knew what we were doing, that we could actually trade, teach women how to trade, and then have successful women. So that's when the term Trade Like a Girl came out. And so we started giving people the designation called Trade Like a Girl. So yeah, I had to go through all 3 parts of the academy myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got beat a little bit up sometime too.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's how you learn, right? That's how you learn. So why do you think it's so important that women learn how to trade? I mean, men too, but they're giving you opportunities. Why do you think it's important that women?
90% of the market is controlled by men. 90%. In Japan, you will see a large group of women that trade because they started trading because they were bored and they needed something to do. Very natural in Japan. But the numbers, when you look at the United States, you look at other areas, the UK, it's not a lot. You don't meet a lot of women traders. It is very empowering because it gives you options. It gives women the opportunity, I don't care whether you're single, married, divorced, whatever it is, you now have options that you don't have to go outside of the home. You don't have to do some other job that maybe you're putting yourself in harm's way,
Gotcha.
to trying to make extra money. It gives you, as long as you got that laptop and you got internet access, you can learn to trade and you can replace or supplement the income that you need for your household, and it'll be different for everybody.
Wow, no, that's fantastic. So what? I heard you say you took some L's. I took an L yesterday, but right. So why are most people failing at trading?
Oh, easy. Discipline and mindset. Well, the number one, if you read anything, Google it, books, whatever, they all say, like, there's a series right now, a reality YouTube show out of the UK, and he brought in a mindset coach, and I am the mindset coach, by the way. When Linda taught the first class, she said, oh my goodness, you're going to have to do mindset with these people, because that was the area where it is the biggest challenge. I mean, I have to give mindset talks to myself, right?
Right, we all do. We all do, but it's really easy for me to flip. I think because I've already been there, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I struggle with, that's kind of why I got out of the coaching business, because people really didn't believe they could build money. Like, they say they want to, but they didn't believe that they actually could. And they'd say, Richelle, do you really believe that every business can be $1 million business? I go, yeah. It's just moving a couple of things around, but because they've never done it, they don't see it. And I'm like, you have to believe it first. And I can't help you with that. Like you gotta go somewhere else, because as much as I want to show you, which is why I'm doing this, it's like, I'm almost finished with my new book, Speed. And it's all about collaboration and putting together, a system so that people are promoting you and selling you, right? And so I go, it's simple, and they still didn't believe me. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And literally less than 30 days ago, because I'm an implementer like you, I said, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make it happen. And so now they keep going, oh my God. And I'm like, because you see, it's just about doing, right? And have I made pivots and have I changed some things? Absolutely. But if you trust the process and follow the process, that you will make it. But they second guess it. They second guess it all the time. Well, that can't be real. Well, that can't be right. Well, that's not what's really going on. Oh, and I can't do it because, and fill in the blank. And I'm like, okay, so how about, because you're 27? Oh, no, I'm older than 27. Okay, well, I was 27 when I owned my first business. How about, because you're African American? Oh, you're not? Okay. So, okay, that's an obstacle, right? Okay, well, how about because you're a woman? Oh, you're not a woman. Okay, well, geez, how about because you're a little chubby? Oh, you're not chubby either. Well, damn, I have every obstacle there is to not succeed. Every excuse, but I said, I don't have an excuse.
Right.
I don't care what. If they did it for him, they can do it for me. If so-and-so did it, I can do it. So that's what I'm going to do. So when I hear you say that it's mindset and discipline, I'm like, all right, sign me up, right? Because I got all that.
Right? And you know what's funny about that is I remember telling Linda when she said, we got to have some mindset training. And I told her, I said, your job is easier than mine, right?
Exactly.
Because you're just teaching them how to do the thing. If you see if you're in the market, because we use technical analysis a lot, if you see the candlestick do this, then you do this, right? But you want me to undo years.
Yes. Years.
Okay. So and here's the problem. When I'm done talking with them, their brain is in their head when they walk away. And I told her, I said, it's a really and the other difficult part is that most people who need mindset don't think they need it.
Oh.
You're here like, we're preaching to the choir today, yes.
Yes, that is so true. And it's so funny because that's what I always tell my the folks who come to me and want to be life coaches, right? And I said, okay, so here's the deal. If you want me to tell you the truth, do you want the truth? They're like, oh yeah, Richelle, I can take the truth. I'm like, so people who want your services are tiki boom boom crazy. Okay? Those who say, I think I might need a life coach are nuts. They need a psychiatrist. Like they've got years and years of just shit. You know what I mean? And pardon my French, but they need it. And the folks who could really use you are too proud. So I never, even as a business coach, I never sold the mindset, because that's a hard sell. I said, here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you how to build $1 million business. They're like, they all want that. Then they come in and I'm like, okay, well, these are the 3 things you need to do first.
Right.
And they go, oh my gosh, I'm having so much success. Well, you know why? Because I fixed your head. Because I fixed your head first. I fixed your head. I showed you the possibility. I laid out the plan. I showed you. I had you meditate. I had you get really clear about where you want to go. I had you write the steps. I had, my favorite is to do a number chart. So, after this, people will be able to see my number chart, right? And I go, okay, let's talk about $1 million business. All right. So, how much are you charging? They go, $17. I go, okay. So how many of those do you have to sell to get to $1 million? Right? And it's like, 30,000. Okay. You that's why you don't believe it, because your marketing is not good to sell 30,000. Right?
Yeah.
So, but what you need to do is get them somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 per customer. Mm-hmm. They're like, what? I go, yeah, all we have to do is change your price or create a better offer. So now you get the 1,000, because at $1,000, guess how many you have to sell? And they, they're trying to do the, And I'm like, no, move your decimal point over. It's only 1,000. It's only 1,000. So 1,000 times 1,000 is $1 million. Mm-hmm. They go, said, okay, so I'll break it down even further. That's really only $80 a month. So sell a continuity program that's $80 a month. They go, my God, not even 97, not even 97. Can you do that? They're like, I can do that. I'm like, all right, let's go do it, right? And it's like, oh, but before I even show them that, I have to fix the, you are worthy.
Right.
This is supposed to be for you. Please share your gift with the world. They don't care that your hair isn't perfect today. They don't care that you have on the same black shirt you had on yesterday. They don't care, And so I have to prove it to them every day. Because I go, well, I'm not you. And I'm like, I know you're not me. But that doesn't mean you're not amazingly special.
Exactly. And that you have the ability. I told a guy that was working with us, I said, part of your problem I told him, I said, you're very left brain. And the problem with you being so left brain is that you question everything. Instead of you just going with the flow, you kind of got to relax a little bit. You got to kind of go with the flow. Yeah. And just like you said, there's a system for literally everything.
Everything.
But you won't even follow the system because you're so, I'm going to give you the perfect example. So I said to him, I go, you're horrible one-on-one. I go, you're horrible. You miss commitments. You don't know how to call when you say, and you mess up everything. That's what my relationship with you has been like. I said, however, on the flip side, you're a great teacher. Oh my God. I go, you're a great teacher. So I said, so why don't you create a program where you teach us entrepreneurs about our website? He does website stuff. I said, why don't you teach a program and you could teach 20, 30, 40 of us all on the same. And once you record it the one time, you're done, right?
Yeah.
And you can, I said, so do you have a Facebook group? And he goes, this is what he says to me. I don't like Facebook. I said, I don't care about whether you like it or not. Who cares whether you like it? Look at you. I said, so let me ask you this question. So you like being broke? Because that's why we're having this conversation.
Like being broke. Obviously you do. Because, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And that's what was coming out of the conversation, is because he literally was, having a lot of money challenges. And I said, you think every time I ask you about something, charging me for that is what's going to get you out of this. And that's not it. That's not what's going to get you out, because you're chasing money to pay a bill.
Yeah.
And you could increase what you're doing by doing what you're great at. You're great at this, but you suck at this. So you should stop doing that. You really should.
But they don't, I think some people just get into that habit and get into the pain. And they do it. One of the things I talk about in the $1 Million Equation is what's going to make you a great entrepreneur. If you really want to do that, what's going to make you a great entrepreneur are all the things that made you a great employee. So if you were a horrible employee, you're going to be a bad entrepreneur, right? So if you didn't get to work on time, if you didn't stay late, if you didn't, all of that, the reason why people choose to be an entrepreneur is because they say, oh, I want the time freedom. I want to be able to do what I want. You're going to have a crappy business. What's going to make you a great business is time, discipline, commitment, doing extra, going overboard, committing to stuff, doing shit you don't like. That's what makes a great business.
So I'm stealing that from you, because I'm gonna ruffle some feathers and I'm gonna post that on Facebook, because
it's the truth.
Needs to be said.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Why your business isn't succeeding has nothing to do with it. It was because you're being a bad employee. It's because you're not committed to following through. It's because you don't show up on time. You don't do what you say you're going to do. You don't do it well when you do it. You half-ass it. You don't do the time commitment because you think that after you make $10, you should be able to take a break. Yeah. You've got all of these things that made you a bad employee. The one job that I had in my life, the reason why I got promoted 4 times in 5 years and ended up buying it from my boss is because I was a great employee. I came early, I stayed late, I did exactly what was best for the company. Even when my boss was wrong, I told him he was wrong. I said, you're making a mistake here. That's not the best for the company. And then I ended up buying the company from him. It's like, that's when you get those opportunities, but you don't get those when you, once again, show up late, don't do what you say you're going to do. Don't commit to it, half-ass it. And then, or if you only work when you need money, you're not going to make it, and then you see it from the computer guy. You just you must have, is your power bill high this week? Because that you just did for me, you did for me 2 years ago and it cost $30. And now it's $300? What the hell? Right? What are you thinking about? But I think many don't do that. They fall in love with the hustle instead of the process. And I go, don't love the hustle because you will always chase. Love and commit to the process so that the money flows and comes back to you.
Amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to get your book. Because here's the other part too. What I did learn on what made me able to come in and do the mindset is that when I was in for all the negative things people can say about network marketing companies, I did a lot of personal development there.
Yes. Well, you have to.
It was almost required. They had a really good personal development teacher. And so if you were part of the top 20 income earners, they expected to see you there every single month, right?
Yep.
And so I was what they call teachable and coachable.
Yep.
See, and that's just what you said there is very true, because our employees that we had at the restaurant, we wanted to sell the restaurant to them, but in reality, what you said is so true. They were, some of them, I'm not going to say, but There was a lot of them that were not really good employees. That would have been a horrible mistake because, like I said, if they ran things the way they did when we weren't there, I've never heard it put that way, but that is, like I said, I'm going to make a post and wait till you see probably get 100 people comment on that because I'm going to ask the question, do you think that's the way that it is? But I know you're 100% right because everything has to do with what do we always say in mindset? How you do one thing is how you do
everything. It is true. I was laughing. I met this gal. She had a really messy car, and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to see your house. You know what I mean? Or the folks that I go and walk at this park, right? And there's always dog, feces all around. I'm like, I would hate to see your house. Right. Because if you're okay with leaving the dog poo right there, I can only imagine what your house looks like because how you do everything is how you do everything, right? So that's why you've been successful in multiple areas. That's why you can jump from business to business and still succeed because it has nothing to do with the business. It has to do with who you are as a person and your commitment to excellence. And that's just the bottom line.
I love that because I have said that during the course of the mindset, and I tell them, I said, there's only one reason that I've been able to be successful for over 25 years as an entrepreneur and not ever have to go back to a job is because of my mindset. You see, I just told you those businesses that I gave you were all different, right?
All different.
I done went from a restaurant to a gym to an executive recruiting to all of this, right?
Yeah.
And the gym was the only one that was kind of, that put me in the hole a bit. But regardless, like I said, 9 out of 10, the success was there, and it's because of who I am, and it's because of how I think. So you don't have that problem there, but typically with things like Forex, as you were asking, you gotta get in here first. Because this is what's stopping you from doing what you need to do. It's not hard. Everybody likes to talk about, when you say Forex, a lot of people, everywhere I go, they're like, oh, why would you want to do that? That's so risky. Well, it's risky getting on that freeway every day. It's pretty risky.
You better tell it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what are you talking about? You take risks every single day. Who would have thought that the banking industry would stop? But it did. So that was risky, just leaving your money in the bank. Who would have thought that all of these things that are happening now would be happening? So I like to have controlled, calculated risk, but I take risk every single day.
Thank you so much for listening to my passion project and the $1 Million Equation podcast. Love what you're hearing? If you like it, I love it. So click the subscribe button to get each week your new favorite episode.
So tell me what's so special about trading Forex, and tell us about the industry a little bit.
So the industry now online is about 20 years. The great part about it is that you can decide what hours that you want, again, what you want to work. The way we teach it is that you're only going to be in the market a couple of hours. This is what's surprising to a lot of people too, because Linda's very, very conservative, and you can do well conservatively. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway. So
well, you know what? Because they don't know. And it's just like everything else in this world, because they don't know. So if they're feeding them an image of what they think this is, then they all do that. If you don't know me, then you have this different image of who you think I am. And that's the same thing with Forex. If you don't know it, if you don't understand how it works, then you're scared. And you listen to all those crazy, there's people who don't ride an Uber, right? And it's like, well, why? Oh my gosh, well, that's so scary. Did you know that this girl, and I'm like, so that's 1 out of 3 million rides that happens to you. And that's because there's crazy people, right? And you're going to get those crazy people at the grocery store or go to the movie theater by yourself, right?
You get on a plane. You don't know who, I think, what is it? Just somebody tried to open up a door who was on a plane. A lady tried to open the door. Okay, you don't know wherever you go, like you said, you have no idea what you're dealing with. So I just refuse to live in fear like that. And how do you get better at anything, right? You get better because you keep doing it. You know, the perfect example is of a baby, right? A baby falls down how many times? A toddler falls down how many times, but they still get up and they keep trying it again, right?
Yep.
And I give the scenario too of when you started your job. So let's say you were 16, 18, you started your first job. It was hard. You didn't know what you were doing. You had no idea. But over time, you look back, if you were there for a year, you could look back and go, oh my gosh, I can remember when this was so hard. I didn't know how to do it. The biggest problem with Forex also is that because of social media and because of this information overload, people think that it is a get rich quick, and it is nothing like that. And I tell people this all the time too, Richelle. Look, if you got into trading Forex because you needed money today, then you should go Uber. Because it's not that kind of that's not the kind of party we got going on.
Right. Because you can get paid today. You can get paid today at Uber.
This is not the way this is going to work. This is going to be a process for you to get good at it. Just like a guy playing sports, right? They typically start out learning the fundamentals of whatever, like it's everything. It's music, it's sports, it's cooking, it's everything. We never just wake up and we're great at any of those things, right?
No.
And so the process is the biggest part. I just posted something that they say, Jeff Bezos said to Warren Buffett, look, what you do basically is very simple. What you do in the stock market is pretty simple. So if it's so simple, I don't understand why most people just don't do what you do, right?
Yeah.
And he said that's because more people don't want to get rich slowly.
Right.
They want to get rich fast, quick, and in a hurry.
Right. Well, if you think that, I watched my kid pace in front of the microwave the other day. You know what I mean? It's like, really? That's the fastest you can get. You remember when we had to warm up stuff in the oven? Right. God forbid. It's like, well, look, if you want the pizza crispy on the bottom, we got to put it in the oven. Again, no, I'll just eat it in the microwave, right? Because nobody wants to wait. Nobody wants to plan things out. And truly, I think that's why people come to me, because I did rebuild my business back in 5 months, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, but you got to realize that I had 14 years of experience before I lost it. You know what I mean? So that when I lost it, 7, so that but I had been in business for 14 years. So that when I lost it, I came back. And yes, it was easier the second time because I did all the things I'm telling you to do. But see, you have to think about it. You have to think about it. I said, nothing really takes that long. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. What takes the longest is you hemming and hawing. And should I do that? Maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to call them. I'm not going to call them today. The sun is shining. So I'm going to call them tomorrow because maybe it's raining. I'm not going to do that. Ooh, my favorite pen is in here. Okay, then, gosh, they don't have that's what takes the longest.
Well, and the fact that, too, even prior to meeting Linda, I had been doing mindset was something that was, I incorporated it into my life, right?
Yeah.
So I was doing the self-check. I was not playing the victim in whatever was going on in my life when I lost 5 homes at one time, you know?
Right.
So I had the mindset. And so the preparation, you know how they say, what is luck? It's when an opportunity meets
preparation. Yeah.
Well, I had already been doing all that. So the difference, like you said, and you being able to rebuild in 5 months is your head's already on straight.
Already. And I'm just doing. I'm not thinking. I'm doing what it takes. I'm not going, ooh, what if this doesn't work? Well, shit, I already lost my house. I already lost my mama's house. Imagine that. Losing yours is not too bad. But when you tell your mama, look, she was already mad. I tell the story all the time. She was the last one to switch to my telephone service until after I bought her the house. So when we lost that was a tough one. I should have tapped out then and went back to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was a horrible, hurtful time. And I still just said, well, here's what I know what to do. I know how to do it. I know the mistake that I made. And I used it as a learning opportunity and not a law. And I think that you've done that too. And I think that you have to do that in the Forex space, because you're going to lose. You're going to have some trades that you lose on. But, if you quit, then you quit as a loser.
So let me give you give you an example. Linda we have a plan, a 2020 plan, and this 2020 plan is literally, so you see people, I'm sure everybody's seen, they've got these big, they've got 10 TV screens up to do it.
Yes.
20 pips a day, 5 days a week, and 2 hours a day or less. It's conservative, but it's $1 million in 4 years. Now, you can do it in a shorter time, but here's the reality of what you said. A lot of people don't like when you say the average person, but something that works for the average person is pretty good. Right?
Thank you.
Because we all, look, you've watched, what's that show? America's, what's the singing one?
American Idol?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
A lot of those people think they can sing.
Yeah.
But we know better, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with average, okay? You want something that the average person can do.
Absolutely.
Now, if you are above average, then prove it. Prove it.
Well,
I know what you think in your head.
I'm above average.
Right. But what? Right? And when
you know what? I mean, so are you, right? But the real gift, and that's the thing that I learned over the last 10 years in this space, is that my true gift is by helping the average person do it.
Yes. I want to help you, and that's why I'm here.
Right.
That's why you're here.
Right.
What people have to understand is the visionaries of the world are doing things because they really do want to see change.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because why else would a woman of my age, over 50, decide?
You look great.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much, and of course you do too. But why would a woman decide, who has no experience in something, to go into that industry right after this many years? Why would I want to do this unless it was to help empower other women?
Yeah, unless it's something bigger than me, which that is, I truly believe that what I'm doing is my ministry. I think that's why I was blessed so much earlier in my life, so that I could show what is possible, so that I can be that goal, so that I can say, look, you can do it. And because there's definitely times when I was speaking at the Christian Business Women's Group, and they had me speak, and I was like, what am I going to speak about? I'm not a preacher. I'm like, I know 2 scriptures. That's it. And those I messed up. Right? And so I said, the Lord is my shepherd. and that other, but I can't tell you where it is in the Bible.
Right.
But what I was telling them is that there has been a theme throughout my life, that every time I would be in a spot that wasn't where that I was the odd duck, right? Mm-hmm. Is that people would say to me, there's just something about you.
Uh-huh.
And it used to bother me, right? And I finally turned that around into, that's God talking to me. That's him saying, Richelle, they see the light in you.
Yeah.
They see that. They see me through you. Let it shine. So now when they say, there's just something about you, I smile, because I feel like I just feel God's arms around me going, yeah. Okay. There's just something about me. And I used to try to dim that, of course, because I wanted to fit in, and I just don't. And so now I don't, but also because I'm over 50 and I just go, I don't care. This little light of mine, right? I'm going to let it shine, go back to the old Sunday school thing. But it truly is. And that's really why I did this summit, is because I brought my friends who are crushing it in multiple areas. And I wanted them to share it with everybody else, to say, look, you have a gift too. And if you don't have it here, maybe you want to learn to do Forex now, right? Or maybe you can learn to do flipping real estate, which my friend Lo talked about. Or maybe you want to do the Airbnb thing, which my friend Jerry's talking about. Or, we've got places to put you in that work, right? That work. And we want options, and we want to see, you change the world. Because I believe that truly, if I can get 1 million, entrepreneurs to reach the $1 million level, that the world will change.
I agree with you.
The world will change, because 3% of women-owned business ever reach the $1 million level. 9% of all businesses are the only ones that reach the $1 million or more. So everybody else is somewhere down, and they're trying to figure out how to grow the next piece, and I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? If we can just make this happen. Well, what's, you told us about your group. You told us, what you guys are teaching. What's next for Girls Gone Forex? What are you doing with that?
Okay, so what we are doing is we have a nonprofit called, our nonprofit's called Trade Like a Girl Foundation.
Got it.
So the reason for Trade Like a Girl Foundation is we have our signature event, which is called Invest Like Her. Invest Like Her. And so Invest Like Her is where we bring in people like you, yay, our newest speakers. And what we do is we show women what they can do financially as investors and as entrepreneurs. We give them options. So we bring in people from the financial industry, because one size does not fit all.
Nope.
And we want them to be able to see what options there are out there in the world for themselves as both. And so Trade Like a Girl Foundation, the nonprofit, our goal there is to give away scholarships to women who cannot afford to go through our classes. We just opened up our first brand ambassador in the UK. She is in Scotland. And we are going across the globe, and we're not going to let the reason or excuse be that you don't have the money. We are doing that through our foundation. So through our foundation, we're going to go, and we have a kids program coming out, because we want to teach kids also. So we go into the schools. And so that's what the nonprofit, we have our for-profit, which has been, going on 3 years, but this is an opportunity for us to go into areas. Like we had a gentleman contact us about coming to Kenya and helping there, because they know the power of Forex is that you can trade anywhere. You can start an account with just $100. And so the nonprofit, and what is so wonderful about this is that there are so many organizations out there that are funding, that are about empowering women.
Yeah.
And so I got a really nice letter from the people at Spanx, Sarah Blakely's people.
Yes.
They're in Atlanta. And so they couldn't work with us this year, but they said, hey, next year, let's talk about it and see what we can do. And so it's just a really good opportunity for us to reach women that thought they were being left behind. And so we can really put this information, because here's a great thing about this too. Once you learn how to do this, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can ever take that away from you. You can literally decide, I got 20, the market's open 24 hours a day. A lot of people don't know this. It's open 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's a lot of options, right?
Yep.
So you can decide, okay, so where does my life, where does it fit in for me?
Sure.
So I can decide when I want to trade. All I need is the knowledge, and it'll take you about 6 months to go through our course. Once you go through our course, you are good to go. You're good to go.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Hey, you. We are so grateful that you are part of MDE Nation. Are you enjoying this episode? Let me know what you think, especially if you have a question. I would love to answer it personally. You can go to richelleshaw.com/podcast to get more information about each episode, or to be reminded of the MDE weekly assignment and so much more. Go to richelleshaw.com/podcast.
So I ask everybody the same two questions. So the first one is, tell me about your favorite client. Not your ideal client, because we all know we need people with the right mindset. We need people who are implementers, not that. But who is like your favorite client that every time you think about her, because of course it's got to be a girl, right?
Yeah.
that it makes you smile. Who would that be?
This is easy because you and I talked about you doing mindset and sometimes people need a little bit more, right?
Right.
And I'm not a therapist, obviously. I've had 2 failed marriages, so I'm not a marriage counselor. But it was a woman who told me I saved her marriage. And that makes me cry almost every time I think about it. She called me because of the mindset. And she shared that she was very frustrated with what was going on at home. She felt alone. A lot of women come to us because they need something for them. When you get around 40, 45, you start looking, the kids get older, and you're like,
yep.
What about me? Like, what's for me?
Right.
I took care of the husband. I took care of the kids. Yep. Can I get something for me here?
Yeah, please.
And in some cases, the parents are getting older, and now they're taking care of the parents, right?
Right.
That's why most of them come to us. And so she said, because she'd gone through the academy, she said, I'm just frustrated. I'm ready to leave my husband. And he's a good man, but I'm ready to leave him because I'm doing everything and nobody's helping me. I don't care how loud I yell. They're not hearing me. And she said, and I'm at the point where I'm just ready to go. I'm ready to just call it a day. So we had a very nice chat, and I gave her something to do. I said, I want you to try something different because what you're doing is not working.
Yeah.
So I want you to speak to your husband in a different way because you're speaking at him. I need you to talk to him, and I'm going to tell you what words I think that you need to say to him. So we went through that, told her what to do. I said, now I want you to let me know how it goes, but here's what I need you to do. Just get out of your own way and do this. So she did. 3 weeks later, she called and I said, so what's going on? Haven't heard from you. Like, what's going on? She said, I've been on my new honeymoon. She said, I did what you told me to do, and everything in our life has changed. She said, we have date night now. He's went in there with the kids and got the kids online. She said, he's my partner again. And I sent her a gift for her and him. It was like a game or something for married couples or something like that. That is because it wasn't supposed to be that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because again, I'm not a marriage counselor. I would never think that I could do that.
No, but what happens is we end up, because we can hear it, right? We can see it. I see that all the time. It doesn't matter. If you're coaching with me, that has to come out because that's keeping you from implementing often. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, what's going on there? Well, they don't listen to me. Well, they don't. I said, well, what are you doing? Because it's not all they. And I've never been married, so who am I to say, right? But what I do know is I know how I like to be treated.
Yeah.
And so I know how I want to be talked to. I know how I want to be included in the conversation. And if that's not happening, then it ends up, but not to discount what you did, that's absolutely amazing. All right. Second question is last question. So folks watching, I know that they have been enlightened. I know they were writing nuggets. I know they have fallen in love with you, how I have fallen in love with you. What do they need to do? What's the number one thing they need to do to really crush 2019? I mean, they may be watching this after because, of course, this never dies with the video. So if they're watching this late and whatever year, what is it that they just need to do to change their life? What is it?
Kind of like what you said, believe that they can and make a decision. It starts with the decision, right? So you have to make the decision that, are you really fed up, or is this just something you want to keep talking about? Like, are you complaining just to complain?
Yeah.
And if you are really, if you're not going to do anything, the decision, if you're not going to do anything, then just stay where you are and do that. Just own that.
Right.
I'm not going to do anything. I just like to complain.
Yeah.
But the first very thing is, and this is interesting that you asked this, because I'm teaching the science of getting rich right now. We're in the middle of the science of getting rich. And the science of getting rich is not just about, people think, oh, it's just about me learning how to get rich. No, it really is not. That's not really what it's about. No. It is about you doing things in a certain way, like you said. Yeah. It is you doing things in a certain way and not getting so caught up emotionally in it.
Right.
It is you making a decision that starts with what? A thought.
Yeah. Thought. Yeah.
Everything that we do starts there, right?
Absolutely.
And so before you can go on to the second step, it's got to be right.
Right.
So in answer to your question, it is making the decision.
Love it.
That I am going to do something different.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it is owning that too.
Right.
Just not going to do anything.
Well, I was in a relationship that went on far too long, and it was not great for me, right? And people, when it was over, people go, I had no idea. Well, why? I wasn't going to tell you, because I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't ready to leave.
Right.
When I was finally ready to leave, then I told y'all. But to tell you before I'm ready to leave, I don't need you. I don't need your judgment. I don't need any of that. But that's because I've always done the inner work. I will look at that and say, okay, am I ready to make a decision to stop doing that? Yeah. Sometimes I am ready, and sometimes I'm not. And when I'm not, I go, you know what? I'm not. So I'm going to have my chili dog today, and y'all just need to get over it. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. I'm not ready to give that up. But when I'm ready, then boom, I just do it.
My mom told me that once about me. I told my mom, she was in a relationship after her divorce, and she would constantly tell me about what was going on. And I said to her one day, why do you keep telling me about this? Are you planning on leaving? Like, you keep talking about it. Like, are you leaving? And she told me this later. She said, you know what? And she tell people, my daughter told me that if I'm not going to make a decision, I need to shut up talking about it. Because obviously you like being there.
Right. But I think that people don't, you want to really be there. Yeah. And if you are, then commit to it. And if you're not, then get out. Life is not black and white, but it certainly is, I think, when it is decision making. There's nothing more powerful than a changed mind. Nothing.
And to make a decision, like you said about this, even when I go out to a restaurant, I am probably the most decisive person there. I'm like, everybody else is going back and forth, and I'm like this.
Right. I know before I get there what I'm having, and I sit and just listen, and they go, "Ooh, well, why don't you get the salmon and I'll get no, because I don't like the salmon. So I'm gonna get what I like, and how about you get what you like? And then, and if I want two, then I get two, right? Because I don't care that you have a problem, or if I want like two desserts, so what? So really, I probably won't eat it all, but I want to taste this and taste that. But I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth with, ooh, well, maybe I should, or should, that song, should I stay or should I go? That. Look, it hasn't always been that way.
Mindset.
It hasn't always been that way, but it is now. Just because I've had enough failure, I've had enough success, I've had it, and to be perfectly honest with you, they don't really feel that different.
Yes.
Right? And people don't know that. They don't, because what happens is, they set a goal and they get at the end of the goal and they go, well, because nothing happens, balloons don't go off, you don't walk into the bank and they go, yeah, there she is. They also don't do that when I'm overdrawn, right? So you got to get to the point where you love the process. where you stay with the process and you give yourself your own wins and your own accomplishments and your own high fives. Because if you don't, then you never feel better. You see, and then you'll keep going and, ooh, I got to get, and I got to get, and I got to get, and I got to get. And if it's always about numbers, you will always be miserable because numbers don't end. Now, I didn't say that. Bob Marley said that. But numbers don't end. So if that's your focus, is I just need to get to a million won't be enough.
Right.
You know, mine was, I needed to learn to be happy, and that's how I was able to rebuild the business back so quickly.
Absolutely.
Because I got happy and full of joy when I shouldn't have been. You know, I have every reason to not be full of joy, but I don't have a right.
Because you have gratitude, and you have gratitude. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
I had a mentor, and one of the things that he said, he asked us when he was training, he said, are people motivated by money? And he said, you are absolutely not motivated by money, because money is the easiest thing to make. You can make it legally or illegally.
Illegally, right.
So what you have to decide is what is behind that decision. And again, mine was, when I left the phone company, it was that Ma Bell was a union and everything was based on seniority. I was low seniority because everybody in there had been there forever.
Right, because their mama got them a job, you know. Yeah.
They're not leaving. And I remember walking in there and the girl taking me around and saying, she's been here 12 years, she's been here 20 years, she's been here 30 years. And I told her, I'm not going to be there that long. This is a big thing.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, well, that's what they all said. I said, yeah, but they're all not me.
Right. Right.
I was there 7 years, and 7 years seemed like an eternity.
Forever. Yeah.
But when they changed my hours and I had my kids in daycare, and they literally said, too bad. They said that they were going to put termination letters there if you didn't like it. And because I was low in seniority, it didn't matter that I was a better worker. Because I was low seniority and I had 2 children, I was going through a divorce, and I had children in daycare that closed at 6 o'clock way back then. They said, you now get off at 6 o'clock, and that's not our problem how you get your kids.
That's right.
And so at that point, that said to me,
right.
These are their core values,
right,
and these are mine.
Right. Because what that means is you don't give a shit about me. You know what I mean? It really, well, that's how I see it, is that, obviously you don't care about me. And I also wanted to control my worth and how much people paid me, right? And I wanted to be compensated for my work. And I struggle, which is why I don't work in a job and whichever. But we could go on forever and
How about
ever,
that, right?
Right? Because we definitely think the right way. It has been my pleasure and my honor to have you. I am so grateful that you would spend an hour with us, just talking about, I'm excited about Girls Gone Forex. I'm excited about speaking at the event. It sounds like that's going to be fun. Yay!
Oh, yeah, we're going to have fun. And we have a day of beauty scheduled the day before. So we got a day to be girly girls. And then the next day,
maybe I won't wear black that day. but if I tell the truth, shame the devil, I'm going to wear black. Okay, I'm just going to wear black. But that's going to be awesome.
Because I know
Yay. Well, there will be information below about the event where you can come see both me and Robyn do her thing. There will be information that if you want to take the class, the Great Equalizer, there's that below. If you're ready to change your life and you just want to talk to her, there'll be that below too. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everybody, my friend, Robyn Mancell. Yay!